Okay. Hello, my name is Brynlee Wright. I am 10 years old and I want to become an astronaut. My presentation today is on the Artemis spacesuit. The Artemis mission will send the next man and the first woman to the moon in 2024. I want to thank Miss Amy Ross, NASA's spacesuit designer, who designed the Artemis spacesuits. We interviewed her last week about the suit, so much of this information will come from that interview and NASA and internet resources. Over the decades, people have designed spacesuits to protect our astronauts. The Artemis suit is no different. The purpose of the suit is to keep astronauts safe during long spacewalks and to protect particularly from dust. To be a lighter and better suit, as well as a prototype for Mars mission suits. However, the most important purpose of the suit is to increase mobility. The most challenging part of designing the suit is to make it lighter. A few things I found interesting about this suit is the communication system. Instead of a headset, the microphones are in the upper torso. Also, the gloves make it easier to use your fingers. The suit is also interchangeable, meaning parts can be changed or adjusted for different environments. So the same suit can be used for the moon or Mars or the ISS. There are 7 to 9 different materials in the Artemis spacesuit. Some of the most important are Nomax, which is found in firefighter uniforms, or Teflon, on the outer layer, which is hard to tear because it is slippery. There are also patch pattern of Kevlar, which is the bulletproof vests are made of. This keeps suits from ripping. There is a multi-layer insulation made of mylar, which is the material in balloons or spiral blankets. Under the suit is a thermal comfort undergarment and a liquid cooling ventilation garment to help cool down astronauts and lightly helps protect from radiation. Cold water flows to the garment through tubes and into the portable life support system and cools down again. This undergarment also holds the diaper. So what is the difference between the Apollo spacesuits and the Artemis spacesuits? Number 1, the Apollo astronaut suits are custom made by creating a papier-mâché mold of each astronaut. The Artemis suits come in sizes medium large, where the shoulders and torso can be adjusted to fit various sizes. Number 2, it is created for long spacewalks that can last up to 8 hours. And most important difference is mobility. The bearings are a part of the suit, similar to wheels that can help you rotate or move your body. The Apollo suit had bearings on the wrist and shoulder. The Artemis suit had bearings on the wrists, shoulders, as well as the waist, knees, ankles, upper arms, and making it much more mobile. No more bunny hops on the moon. Fun facts. Designers are still working on it, on the spacesuit, and it is adjustable to fit most people 5'4" to 6'3", and each costs as much as a car. But most importantly to me is I can dance in it. Thank you for listening to my presentation on the Artemis spacesuit. My name is Brynlee Wright, and my goal is to dance on the moon.
That is really awesome, Brynlee. I want to give you, well, I guess I got to turn off my background so you can see it. Hold on a second. Choose virtual background, none. Okay, cool. I want to give you this a certificate for completing your second speech, but that was really fantastic. Well, does anybody have any? There we are. It's amazing. It made it all the way over there so quickly. So did anybody have any questions for Brynlee about spacesuits? Well, I had a question, Brynlee. Let's see. When is the first time they plan to actually put the spacesuit? I mean, will they test the spacesuits on the ISS, or will the first time that they actually test these spacesuits be on the moon?
She didn't say that they will test them on the ISS. Miss Amy Ross, she didn't say that they will test them on the ISS. I think it's just going to be on the moon.
Awesome. And any other like really interesting tidbits that you learned from your interview that didn't make it into the presentation?
Let me think. Did not let me do that presentation.
We do have a few things. We've interviewed a few people, actually. We interviewed 2 astronauts last week and a SpaceX intern. I think one of the most interesting things we learned about the suit was how it can be used in different environments, like how you change it, how it's interchangeable. So we asked our friend Barry Wilmore, who's an astronaut, what he thought was the most challenging thing about going to Mars, and what did he say?
He said extra parts.
He said spare parts.
Yeah.
And Amy kind of agreed with that. When we asked her what she thought would be the most challenging part about going to Mars, she said yes, because something on your suit is going to break. And she was saying that the moonwalks are longer, so they would be about 8 hours a day, and then doing it every other day for about 500 days, right? For about 500 days. So she's like, inevitably something is going to break, but they're working really hard to try to make the suit as durable as possible. So the goal is to try to make the suit last 250 days while outside of a spacecraft. But I just found it interesting that was the answer.
So did they say anything about dust and how to mitigate any dust effects on the new suit?
They did say that the gloves will wear out really fast because of all the dust. So they're trying to figure out how to get more gloves.
So that's one of the challenges of the design, is to make it particularly strong or defensive against dust particles. So that's like a particular thing that they're trying to work into the spacesuit.
So did they change the materials from the Apollo suit? The materials of the Apollo suit was very strongly attracting the dust.
Yeah. Yes. They did change the materials, but I don't remember which exact materials were specifically to prevent dust particles, but I know that was a change.
I think that's going to be one of the big deals with it. Thanks.
Yeah, and it's still a work in progress. And when we asked, like, so her designers are still working on it, and they're still tweaking it. And because when we said, well, how much does the suit cost? And she said, a lot. and she's like, we really don't know. I know NASA doesn't like revealing how much their things cost. But she was like, we really don't know, because we're actually not finished with it. So they're still testing and still trying to improve on the weight and on the protection of it.
Yeah, they're still trying to make it lighter. Still trying to do that.
I did see a article this morning about, there's a company in Austin, a 3D printing company, and they're actually trying to figure out that they want to use that on the moon so that they can 3D print buildings on the moon. So maybe that's the answer, getting getting parts 3D printed while you're on the moon.
Yeah, that's what Barry Wilmore said, that the 3D printer technology that's improving, and it's just finding materials that they can send that's like light enough, right? Because we don't want to add weight to the spacecraft, and then but still heavy and durable enough to be useful. So that's a chance. But yeah, 3D printing is definitely what they're looking at and the way they want to go.
Yeah, hopefully being able to use the materials that they find there to be the bulk of the 3D printing stock.
Yes.
So are these meant to be modular, like you can just pop out a part and replace it, or is it going to be a major repair to replace the glove?
To replace a glove? You know what, so remember she did mention, because we talked about that a little bit, about having enough gloves. So I know the suits are adaptable, but I think if there's something like the glove or something on the glove that breaks, it would actually have to be replaced. I know that particular, because we were joking about how we're going to get enough gloves to Mars, and we're like, well, maybe we'll send some with the rover and they'll just be there whenever we can go, or something. Like, we'll just have a stockpile of gloves already on Mars before we get there. So I know the gloves particularly was something that they were concerned about breaking, but as far as repairing things like that, I mean, I know, what was it, the Cavalier, one of the cross stitch pattern that they have, they're just really trying to make these well so that they just won't break. I mean, that's the ultimate goal of what they're working on.
Well, we know from the Apollo suits that probably one, maybe two more EVAs on those suits, and they would have been failing, would have been leaking and stuff.
Yeah. So they're using a last one.
I have a question for Brynlee.
Again, because of the dust. Good.
Do you want to be just an astronaut in general and see as much as possible, or is there something specific about the moon that's your goal?
Just an astronaut, either like a ballerina astronaut. Yeah.
The first professional dancer in 0G.
I'm going to space in May, so I'm really excited just to feel the astronaut ways.
Actually, Victor and Brynlee, y'all just touched on something that I wanted to mention. Last month, we had a guest speaker, Maribah Jha. He's from the University of Texas in Austin, and he studies astrodynamics, but he's really active in a whole bunch of space activities. And I found out, or at least it was announced since the last time, that he's going to be part of this reality TV show called Space Hero, which is a contest, a global contest to select an individual to go to the International Space Station for 10 days. And the same company that's going to be sending, there's a company called Axiom Aerospace who is going to be managing logistics, and they're a real company. So I think it's a pretty legit operation, if not fully funded quite yet. But definitely worth checking out. It's called Space Hero, and their website spacehero.me. So it might be kind of fun.